Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Happy Sunday, August 3rd, 2025. We are here with another episode of Tech Stack Reimagined with our favorite Tech Stack Imagineer, Nico Lafakis. I'm getting used to that title. Let me tell
Imagineer,
you.
man. I love it. I really do. I like the title now. And it's making more sense now than ever. So thank you for coming up with that.
But I got like big news yesterday that we can hit on real quick. I got the notification from Perplexity, which is fun to think about. The other AI company breaking news, but Anthropic revokes access of OpenAI to Claude Code, and because they were using it for benchmarking, and here we are still talking about terms of service, but not quite to the abundant world yet. And I just want to highlight one thing and then get your thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of the way what they said the rule was broken is specifically related to using Anthropic or Claude Code to develop competitive products, right? And probably only one, maybe a couple companies that could develop a competitive product, because it's really hard to understand like where they would draw that line. But obviously, AI, number one competitor. So yeah, still in a competitive business landscape, man.
Very much so. Very much. You know, the one thing that I have noticed, which I find a little peculiar, it's so to me, people have been saying like, oh, it's heating up. It's heating up. Oh man. Like, and I mean like leading up to now, like for the last, whatever few months. And it's never felt like that to me. But now it does. And it's sort of a culmination of Jensen poking fun. Actually, it's been like a little bit of an avalanche. First, it was Dario's trip to the what was that? Davos, yeah, to the Davos conference. Coming back and realizing that like no one was taking this seriously at all, and they basically looked at it like it was another smartphone, cool. So then, and this happened in quick succession. This probably has happened in the last month and a half. Jensen pokes fun at him, saying that Dario is basically saying that he's the only one that can create safe AI. So they should be the one to lead the charge, and that really it's just him complaining about not getting enough compute from NVIDIA, this, that, and the other. Now, keep in mind, Anthropic doesn't necessarily need that. I mean, they're partnered with Google and they're partnered with Amazon. So I think more so with Amazon than Google. I'm not sure how that breaks up or works out. Then there's the podcast, right? And during this podcast interview, I wasn't expecting what happened. I wasn't expecting it to be like a hardcore gonna grill you interview. And he really did like get some questions that tilted him. And I've never seen him tilted before. So yeah, it's I can see how like he's starting to get very annoyed, it seems like. I mean, he's definitely tilted. And I don't necessarily like to say that, but I can see where he's starting to just get like pretty pissed off that people are just starting to talk too much shit.
Yeah. He doesn't want to play this game.
No, like that's the thing, is he's getting pissed off that it's getting like politicized and that it's getting turned into a this person versus that person and stuff, and that people are already making it adversarial instead of cooperative, right?
Yeah.
and I don't know, like say what you want to say. Yes, the whole, them burning up Claude Code is absolutely just them trying to benchmark GPT-5 against Claude Code and see like who's better at doing what, right? And uh, Anthropic's not stupid, Dario's not stupid, Danielle is not stupid, obviously. And I say that in the sense that like they know that Sam's going to turn around and use this as publicity, right? And he knows that they're gonna record something and turn around and show it off and see, oh, see, Claude Code couldn't do this, but GPT-5 could, right? So yeah, they're gonna shut it down, right? Like it's like they're not gonna give Apple's not gonna just hand shit over to Microsoft, be like, here's our super secret shit, see how yours compares, right?
Right.
So I think a little bit of it has, I should say a lot of it, I think has to do with that. Plus, who knows how much of Claude Code we're using.
Right.
Well, no,
Well,
there's
that's the thing, like,
constraints.
on the way to this world of abundance, like when everything turns to usage based, like something that came to mind is like, I mean, a competitive, like negative act could be just like burning up tokens, like AI versus AI. Right?
It's kind of like a DDoS attack.
Yes, that's exactly what came to mind.
Yeah.
Like pay attention to over here. Like, well, we're gonna do some stuff over here.
Let's go burn your servers up.
But also like learning, like at the same time, like there's learning happening. So that's where it's still not even just like 100% obstructive. Like there's also things to learn and grow from, and it's going to add to the foundation, either like the AI learning or the humans learning, probably both. And that's where like you get to the point where, I mean, if we are in this world of abundance, it's like the AI will just like, yeah, I could do that, but like then I wouldn't be doing this other way more valuable stuff. So why would I go and bother that company? Like, no, like,
Right.
when do we get there?
I don't know. I do keep hearing people talk about like, obviously like job loss and like very, very, very recently. It's very difficult to cover up a lot of this stuff. The government has been doing a fantastic job up until now. And so they released job numbers, and officially jobs are down, more so than they were at the beginning of the year, more so than they were last year. And it's happening. It's kind of weird. I'm not trying to make this sound good. What's going to transpire is bad, no matter what. Okay. There's nothing that can be done about it. Evolution is evolution. Nobody said that it was nice. Nobody said that it was going to be painless. Nobody said that everyone was going to enjoy it. Nobody said that it was going to be fair. It's just a thing that happens. And what they say is adapt or get left behind. They definitely don't say bitch, moan, and complain and hope that things stay the same way that they are. That's definitely, I've never heard that shit before, right?
No.
So, all that to say that, things are rapidly changing. I remember toll booth operators. I remember those people. That used to be quite the job. A lot of people used to work that job. A lot of people, like millions of people, used to work that job. I don't know where they are now. Most of you don't care. Let's just be honest. Most of you don't care where they went, what they did. We're just all comfortable with the fact that they eventually moved on and did something else. Okay? These people that are getting fired wholesale, the reason that no one really cares is because they're not construction workers. They're not dock workers. They're not people who have unions. They're little bitty programmers. They're white collar workers. their middle management. So like of the categories, one category is getting wholesale slaughtered that no one gives a shit about, right? No one cares about middle management. Everybody hates middle management. Just the word middle management means micromanagement. That's you might as well just say the same thing. So you're basically saying businesses are getting rid of their micromanagers. So much the better. Let's do it. We've been waiting for forever, right? People in enterprise been waiting forever to have that happen. Thousands. Let me just like saying 100,000 is putting it nicely. Over the last 2 years, at least 100,000 programmers have been let go. Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you guys really care? Like, are we saying it's an epidemic? Like these jobs, like there is job loss. But there's this crazy thing that just hasn't happened. I keep trying to like explain it to people and they keep telling me that it's happened before. And I don't know why, because it's insane to me to say, oh yeah, this has happened before. Like, really? This technology existed before? Well, no, but it's not just like anything. It's completely different. No one profited off of the internet. No like multitude of people profited, right? Even though there are junction centers all over the world, right? Even those junction centers don't like independently profit off of internet use. So this is the first time in history. I was actually just having this conversation with my wife, right? Electricity and gas that you put in your car, right? The reason that can't get controlled the way that it should during COVID, gas prices worldwide should have gone down because people weren't going to work as much. But the utility decided to turn the pump down to match because, oh, woe is our bottom line. And at the same time, it's not a utility because it is a commodity that's traded around the world. So we can't just make ours cheaper. Otherwise, we forcibly make everybody else's cheaper. Understandably, cool, fine. But this is a technology where the more you use it, the cheaper it gets for everybody using it, but the more expensive it gets for the facilitator. And it never goes the other way around. It can't. Like it just technologically can't, right? So in other words, like the best example, right, is O3's recent price drop. People were paying $10 per million tokens input. Now they're paying $2 per million. 80% drop in price. Okay. Now, okay, how could OpenAI make up for it if they're losing all these people or like if they're dropping the price so much or whatever? Because now that they dropped it by 80%, another 10,000 users are using it. So it's making up the price in that way, sort of. They're trying. This is, believe me when I say, this challenges pretty much every other economic principle we've put into place so far, to the point that it is going to reshape the economy. Not just the way in which we do work. I had a shocking sort of like revelation of a conversation on Friday, talking to a group of people who were talking about workflows in HubSpot and how certain people do workflows and reporting and how you build out certain reports and dashboards and what do you build out for marketing and this, that, and the other. And listening to people talk about it, it's like, yeah, everybody's got their use cases and all that kind of thing. And then people are talking about like the strategies that they go about in terms of doing it. And then somebody asked me, hey, so how do you use AI to work with reporting? Like, what do you do? And I don't build reports as much anymore, but when I was doing them, basically, I would use Triple H to give me the floor plan, right? And I would say, hey, I'm building this dashboard for this client or whatever. It's this type of business. Here's the work that's been done. This is what we're trying to see. How do I tell the story in reporting, first to last, whatever? How many reports do I need? What are on the axes? What properties involved? Everything. It's not that I didn't want to have to think about shit. It's that I've built those fucking reports so many times. I don't want to have to try to remember how to build them. I just want to get the shit done because it's the next, it's hours and I got to get them done. Otherwise, I got more shit that's backing up or whatever. Anyhow, so at this point, though, I was like, yeah, that's what I used to do. I was like, but to be honest with you, now I just open up Comet, I log into HubSpot, and I just tell Comet to do it. And the whole, digital room went quiet. Because it's really difficult to even imagine, like, fucking really? You just told it to do it and it just went and did, like, it's seriously like magic. It looks like magic, feels like magic, has all the same properties. Sorry, yeah. It's one of those days. Yeah.
And that's one way to think about it. I am seeing more and more related to the HubSpot life that is starting to help bring together the concept of like the change, like, because we've been able to see things like recommended actions and recent behavior and all these contextual things are starting to show up in the portal. A lot of things have been happening behind the scenes that we haven't had access to. Starting to see more and more of it. This is what we're talking about when we say, like, people don't know, people aren't ready. And at Inbound, I expect in 1 month, I expect us to get crystal clear on what they mean as one company, what AI first means. And I think the nuance is going to be like what AI first means to a legacy software company, right? Their ability to shift. Because a lot of what I've been doing over the last year and a half, as far as just pressing forward with long form stuff, right? And just doing it in a value first kind of way. Now that the tools and the ability to do stuff and have me not have to do it are starting to show up like left and right. And me, like, to the point where last week we finally got into N8N. And then like immediately, like in the following days, you're like, okay, I guess I don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
But to your reporting conversation, and this is where like the math doesn't work in terms of 17,000 software companies being able to exist and charge some kind of monthly fee for their service, as so much happens at the platform level of companies like HubSpot and Salesforce and the LLMs, and the Googles, Google as a platform, and probably even Microsoft as a full business platform that now has like Copilot world where there's 17,000 other apps besides that. It just doesn't make sense. And here's why I think, because so many in that reporting, example, X percentage of those 17,000 apps are just for like making stuff like pretty reports, making reporting easier.
Yep.
And SaaS and software is like this communication layer, right? There's 3 buckets I classify data when it comes to HubSpot. 3 buckets of things you need to be able to do with the data easily for your stack to work, right? And for people to be able to use it, and then you be able to use it to support customers. And that's, the data's got to be created, it's got to be managed, and it's got to be communicated, right? And HubSpot, in these conversations, I'm saying it makes it easier than most other platforms to communicate the data, like via, email and nice views of things, reports, dashboards, things like that. So just get the data there, which is clearly a route that they're going. They understand I think, their role in this, where it's like, make it as easy as possible to get all the business context data in one place. Maybe we'll be able to build some cool tools that people can't build themselves for like a year. But either way, like if the business context data is not around and AI cannot see it, then you will not be able to leverage AI in the same way, right? And with reporting, like, I was ready for you to say like, oh yeah, I don't even do that. I just ask the question to Breeze or to plug in GPT and ask them, or
So
Claude MCP, right?
that's what was funny, is that's how it came up, was people asking about the reporting AI tool. And they were like, have you used it? Do you use it or whatever? And I'm like, I haven't used it since it released. And I mean that in the terms of like, I poke at it every once in a while just to remember, like just to make sure that I'm still not going to use it. Because it is like, it's so hilarious to me. I think it's still being run by a third party or something. I don't know what it is, but I have no problem in saying that like it's more trash than Copilot. Like you can actually build a report that you ask for with Copilot, but if you go to the report building AI tool, it's a it's a monkey on a field doing some stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, like that's what brought it up, and I was like, yeah, to be honest, and that's what I told the group. I'm like, look, to be honest with you, in 6 months, you probably won't ever have this discussion again. Because you'll just be, I told them, I'm like, computing will be, it's not just HubSpot. Guys, it's not just HubSpot. Like, that's the whole point of this show. The tech stack reimagined means the whole thing reimagined, right? The whole thing. We're not talking about like, oh, well, which softwares are we going to put together? It's going to be the one. You're just going to pick one that you like to interface with, and that one's going to connect to all the other shit. That's it. That's your tech stack, is the one thing, right? And either by MCP, by Zapier, by whatever means you want to use, it's going to connect to all the rest of your shit. And tech stack is just going to be a matter of tools, literally. And software becomes tools. That's what it is. If you've ever looked at like how Zapier functions the way it does, Zapier is technically MCP before MCP, right? Like it's just an API version of that. So like instead of like so if you look at it underneath, honestly, like there's a software that I'm working on, and it's like, okay, well, how do I make this able to work on Zapier? And even the autocoder's like, well, we just make an API, and then we make API endpoints for all of the actions that you've created here, and then you have an API set, and then we make documentation about it, and then you apply on Zapier to have your actions submitted and all that other shit. And I was like, fuck, that's it? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And then I just slap a $5 a month fee on my shit, and boom, now I make monies.
You make $2 million.
So that's the thing. Like, and you know, so like what happens to the 8,000 other SaaS apps out there, right? Just, I hate to say it, however far you got up to now, in some cases, he's not wrong. In some cases, it's bye-bye, right? Because somebody's going to come over, like somebody is going to steamroll the fuck out of you. Like it's going to happen, right? In other cases, what I can tell you is that, again, I don't know how far you got, but however far you got, if you were the like owner of like the largest amount of pie in your pond or whatever the hell it is, prepare yourself. Just prepare yourself, prepare your bottom line, start lowering your expectations, because the piranha are coming, right? I'm not even joking. I'm working on 3 different apps. One of them doesn't even exist. Like legitimately, you could go search for it on Google, Perplexity, pick your poison, you won't find it. It's gonna exist soon. The other one is quite literally going to tear the whole ass out of a massive whale. Massive, right? And I don't care. And I do mean tear the whole ass out of it, right? Like I'm going to take such a big chunk. You would have thought that it was you'll think it was a Meg, right? That just came up and took a chunk out of your boat, right? Your yacht, super yacht, pretty much. So yeah, it's going to be like that, where everyone's going to have pie. That's how it is. Even if I'm using your software and I love it, but it doesn't do one thing that I need, and you're too busy burning oil doing what you do. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's this one little thing that if I had this thing, boy, would it be awesome. I'm gonna go vibe code my own shit, and then I'm not using yours anymore.
Yeah.
And here's how like strange this is. I'm not saying that this is going to happen to everybody. If you're an audiophile, this might happen to you. When I started using Suno, I started to develop like my own albums of music, and of course, I was developing music that I liked and that I like to hear and that I like to listen to. It's been a while since I listened to Spotify for like more than podcasts. I listen to my shit all the time, right? And it's because it's my still. It's because it's what I want to listen to. It's my anytime I want to, I can just produce my own music that I want to hear, right? Yes, of course, I still listen to artists, right? But I already see the reverence in it. I already see how I love my music, but I have even greater reverence now for people, musicians, than I did before. Like, I wish I could explain it better. And this sounds weird, but I wish I could explain it better than to say I have a greater appreciation for them. And that's not to say that I didn't before. I had a great appreciation for them before. I love the Lumineers. We just went and saw them live. Kind of saw them. We were staring up at the sky because people were standing up. Anyway, but love the hell out of that band. Have listened to that band. Sing all the time at karaoke. Like somehow even more, because I've made my own folk tracks and I listen to my own folk stuff and I love it. I love Appalachian like folk rock and I've done a whole album on it. Listen to it all the time, but this makes me appreciate like the people who actually do it, right?
Right.
That's the thing is like, even if it was a machine doing it, I'd still have it's, you know what it is? It's NASCAR. It's NASCAR.
Okay. I got to hear this.
The reason I won't necessarily appreciate the machine doing it is because I know it's going to be perfect. But I'm waiting for the fuck up. Right? Like you go to NASCAR because it's awesome. But you're also going because you kind of hope there's a crash. You don't want anybody to die, but you've seen Days of Thunder so many times that you're just like, oh man, that would be so cool. You see somebody go through the smoke.
The only one I've ever gone to in person. No crashes. No crashes. One caution. But it's almost like we're moving from the illusion of choice to actual choice.
Yep.
Because as you say that, it's like if you don't have the one thing, you can go vibe code it. The moment you experience that, and it doesn't even have to be vibe coding at this point. It's just like you can go for me, I can go to Claude MCP and do stuff like that I wasn't able to do before. I can learn stuff that I wasn't gonna learn in that way. And like as soon as that dopamine hit like happens, let's be real here. This is what this is. Like and conversational, like humans prefer to learn in this way. They prefer to experience information in this way. And digital and SaaS has been a whole new layer that hadn't existed for like 2,000 years, right? And now it's here and it's a whole different learning curve that we probably don't have to worry about anymore, most of us, right? And when you can say like, so let's say we're in a HubSpot instance and you've heard that you could use HubSpot to do a certain thing, but you're in there and you don't know which one button to click on. Like maybe they changed it. Like this just happened with smart properties on Friday. It's like I go look at the knowledge base article. It's giving me instructions. Those instructions ain't working. Like the things on the screen that they're telling me are supposed to be on the screen that I'm supposed to click on aren't there anymore. And it's
Uh-oh.
because they moved it in the settings to the place that it makes sense to move it to. But like if I'm not in HubSpot every day, I don't go and like I don't know how to find it, right?
Mhm.
And if I'm not and I really want it at that point, I know I can go to uh LLM friend, agent friend and ask. And if it gives me the answer, that's one less time I rely on HubSpot and one more time I rely on my agent friend, right? And
Yep.
that's the choice. Like we have not had that choice before. And now we do. And the more times we take that other path, we are in control. We feel like we are in more control.
Yep.
And then as soon as it shifts to the point of let me check with the agent first, right? Because I can tell
Mhm.
you personally, HubSpot's having to do a hell of a lot of work right now to get me back in for some use cases that I've been relying on Claude for a long time. There, it's starting to work because all of my other business context is there, right?
Yeah.
That on the other way, it's been, hey, Claude, go check out this information, and then we can start working on the thing. If I don't have to do that, now it starts to balance. And that's just like, that's what I mean by the illusion of choice in that, and for your Spotify example, it's like you could you could choose between millions of artists, millions of songs,
Mhm.
but it's still like if somebody else didn't do it, like you weren't gonna find it, right?
True.
And now, if you don't find it, you can just make it, right? And that's
Exactly.
choice, right? So
It's
now
not yeah.
the reverence comes from if you can still do that and you choose to still listen to the Lumineers, right? That's powerful. That's impact, right? That the
That's
Lumineers
abundance.
have, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun to talk about, like for sure.
It is because like a lot of people think that this type of stuff is going to diminish what it is that we do, right? It should only be, and I don't know. It kind of depends on how much time you spend understanding this technology. If you spend a lot of time understanding this technology, eventually you get to the point where you understand that, hey, basically we're rebuilding a human brain. Okay, well, that should like almost immediately melt all of the barriers away in terms of like, that's crazy that it can do this thing. Like, can your brain do that thing? Okay, then it's not crazy that it can do that thing, right? Like, it's only crazy that we're that far, like that we're getting there so quickly. That's crazy to me, right? And even to me at this point, kind of not. Like, we are so close to the vertical now, like so close. It's so not funny. And our Oracle predicted spring 26. Let me tell you, that looks like it's the money. If I had to bet, I don't bet often at all. If you see my stock portfolio, I don't bet. It's amazing. The percentages are stupid. They're stupid, but the actual bottom line, like I looked at it. Basically, I'm looking at it like Bitcoin. It's like I just want to retire. I'm not trying to actually like get rich, like get rich quick type shit. So anyway, the point being that like if I was gonna I'd put everything down on it. I'd put everything down that we will reach something extremely brilliant in the spring of next year. Like if it's not like the thing that basically what I think will hit at the spring of next year is something that can solve a problem that we couldn't solve. That's what I think. And it'll do it mathematically. And for everybody who thinks that like that's not a big deal, even though I think that math is like it's good. It's a great language. It covers so much shit. I don't think it's the universal language because again, it starts to break down at scale mainly, and over distance, it's really starts to break down. But for what it is, yes, like for what we do here on Earth, holy shit, is everything governed by math. Like even down to everything that you think is organic, mathematical. Because at the end of the day, electron, whoops, like it all comes down to science, like always. So once we have something that can figure out science better than we can, that's where you're talking about something that can figure out like not how do we reverse climate change, because you know, once you light a fire, what are you going to do? But more so a question I've been asking forever. Can we not make better air conditioning? Are you shitting me? We can't come up with like a better version of doing that. It seems like the worst, most inefficient, most costly thing that we've come up with to combat heat, right? Material science. Can we develop clothing that can reflect heat insanely to a degree where, yeah, okay, we might walk around with like shawls or something like that, but at least, you know, can withstand the heat or whatever the case may be. Same thing for extreme cold. Like it's not so much that, oh, it's going to solve all our world problems as much as it is, oh, we can work together to adapt to this evolution that is happening. That's how it really should be getting looked at. Like monetarily, things are going to change. We're going to have the greatest. It's almost like, hey, what happens when capitalism goes well? We're about to find out. Because what Chris is talking about in terms of choice, apply that to capitalism. Well, what if we had more than one Walmart? Right? Like what we have Walmart and Myers and like Costco or something and like Sam's. Okay, well, what if we had like 30 of them, like 30 different brands, right? You can pick whichever one you want to. Guess what they'd have to do? Start competing. How do they do that? By lowering prices. Whoops. So once you have like, I don't know, what do we have? Like tops that get used by like everybody, tops 10 CRM companies, you're about to see like 1,000 and they're going to be very good, but they're going to be very good at their particular thing that you can't be good at because you've spent the last 2 decades trying to service everybody. So your big ass whale, it's going to keep handling those whales and awesome to it, but you will lose everybody else. Like all your SMBs that you've been ignoring, all of your like large business that you've been ignoring, all of that shit is going to get eaten up. All of like the material science companies, all of the B2C companies, all of that shit's going to get eaten up because your CRM is specific to everyone, right? Not to just one person. So that's what's going to happen, right? Is all of these companies that are Walmarts and Costco's and all that kind of shit. That's amazing. It's awesome. But guess what? People are now going, because they have the choice, either they're going to go somewhere or they're just going to make their own shit. And trust me when I say, when they make their own shit, other people are going to want it too, right? Like perfect example, right? My wife is my mother-in-law dealing with dementia. My wife likes to send her care packages that help her with her memory and stuff like that. She's looking online, all these different care packages just didn't fit. Either puzzles are too complex, or there's not enough stuff in the package, or there's too much stuff in the package and it'd be confusing. And it's supposed to be this gift boxy thing that she can open up and she can handle like the amount of sensation and all that kind of thing. She's like, oh, I just wish that there was somebody that was selling something that was like a little simple, that had this, but also had this, and, you know, came in a nice package. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We could probably spin that business up in a day. Like I could spin it up realistically in less than 2 hours. I could make it real nice, like purchasable, put it on Stripe, like everything in a day, inside of a day, no problem, right? Website, all of it. To the point where she would just have to start making them. Like that would be the only thing left. All the other shit would be handled, right? Inventory would be handled by an agent. Sales would get handled by an agent. Service gets handled by an agent. All the things that she might not be good at, I will plug agents into. Whatever she is good at that she actually enjoys doing, that's what she does. That's called a partnership. She works together with the AI so that she doesn't have to focus on being excellent at the entire thing. Now, some people love that, right? Some people love to be able to say, I went from busboy to Michelin star and I know everything in between. And that's amazing. I'm not putting that down. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that not everybody's you. And not everybody can be you. And not everybody should have to work that fucking hard to do something that they love. That's stupid. You should never keep somebody from doing what they are passionate about. And the reason Mike Rowe says do what you're talented at and not what you're passionate about is because commerce has killed passion. And it turns passion into this robotic form of labor, right? So you start to lose yourself basically because the business gets too big and you have to start facilitating. So too much gets automated and this, that, and the other. All of a sudden you forget what the recipe was to begin with, right? Instead of you just focusing on the recipe and letting all the other minutia and bullshit get handled by something else. And the recipe always stays the same. And now the thing is always perfect because you didn't have to divide your attention elsewhere. Again, like not everybody can do that mentally, right? So maybe there's some people that, hey, they like doing the product and they like doing the inventory. All right, cool. We'll handle one to do the sales and service and somebody to do the auditing and accounting. Fine. Like, plug it in where you need it. But at the end of the day, again, there's going to be more solopreneurs. There have been, I looked it up on Perplexity. There are more millionaires in the last 2 years from AI than any other financial thing that's happened in the stock market in like the last 2 decades. AI has made more millionaires, and we're not just talking about like because the stock market alone. These guys are getting paid. Like some of these guys get paid $100 million a year. They're getting paid more than professional athletes. Finally, the people who are going to change the world are the ones who are getting paid the most. Go figure. I have been waiting like so long for the nerds to be in charge, for like ever since DeGrasse Tyson went before Congress and was like, I don't understand because we run NASA on pennies. I don't understand why you are cutting the fucking space program because we run it on pennies on the dollar. Like we can send rockets up for like nothing because we get it. Like we know how to do the finances so well, right? And it's like, yeah, you guys cut that program. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like, I wish you would put the nerds in charge of the government. And then we'd know where all the money goes. And like, it would be the most efficient thing ever. Well, guess what's happening? Now, I'm not saying that these guys are taking over government right away, but they will be. We all know that whoever holds the most money holds the most influence over the government. We all know that. Like, unless you're buried in the sand, you know that. Well, look who's about to start holding the most money. It's not the yacht owners. Go look at these guys. Honestly, go look at these guys' personal lives. Go look at Sam Altman's personal life. Go look at Dario's personal life. Go look them up and go find out. Do they have massive ass mansions, gigantic homes, like hundreds of cars, right? Yachts, planes, private planes and shit? No, they don't. Some of these guys wear the same fucking clothes like all the time. most of them wear like the same thing. Like I know Sam pretty much wears like the same type of outfit all the time because, like Steve Jobs, like just focus on what you do. Like who cares about the other stuff? Mo Gadot wears like a $12 shirt from Walmart or some shit like that, right? Like, and I don't really blame them. Some of them are pretty comfortable. But the point being, like, why put the emphasis on that when there's so many other better things to both invest your time and your money in, right? And with the world changing in the way that it is, software changing in the way that it does, development is so rapidly approaching zero. Like,
yeah, that's where I think,
yeah,
like when I like creating value for yourself,
it's never been
and
easier.
or creating value for others. Like I think they're wearing those shirts and they're doing that thing because there's no value to be created if they go get a nice suit or if they go get a yacht, right?
Right.
Not even the money. They've got the money, obviously. The
Right.
time and energy it would take to even like have somebody else do that for you. There's just so much waste, right? That they like don't it doesn't even come into mind like as an option, right?
Right.
Um, but your example with Laura, apologize if I'm gonna hurt any argument you've been trying to make for starting a new business.
No.
Like I think the choice, and this is where like at some point the number of options or the number of um like viable businesses goes down because one, she has to be really interested in creating a business off of that thing that she did to
Mhm.
go make her own, right? Like, and that requires an energy that's different from finding the next thing that you can get real personal on in that gap you've never been able to solve before.
Mhm.
And the way that we have to go to market is very much a like this is how I did it and this is why you want it type of, going to market.
Yeah.
And is the person going to choose to buy that new option? Or are they going to realize that's how easy it is to go and do it themselves? Right.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, once you understand the mechanism behind this, and you're like, oh, that's how easy it is, or that's even possible. I thought I had to go to Walmart, for the gift baskets and
Right.
or the local florist shop, and there's no like in between. I can actually do that now. Like, and the more agent examples we see, the more like Manus spinning up
Mhm.
1,000 agents, right? Or 100 agents. I'm
Yep.
sure somebody could maybe do 1,000.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Libby, Blitz.
right. Like the more that example shows up, that's where we get to like the choice that you could do just about everything, like because development goes to zero and it's literally just your imagination being applied in a new way, which is the part that like not everybody has unlocked. I'd argue that the human brain is built for that. Like
Mhm.
we're constantly trying to imagine our way out of existing scenarios, like making sure we're safe and trying to find certainty. That's why our imagination like works. um, and we're all built to do this, right?
Yep.
And I think it is separating from that um, almost capitalistic need to like find a path towards okay, it can't just be valuable for me, it's got to be valuable for somebody else too. And that's where the choice is, do you make it valuable through the product or through the knowledge to do the thing, right?
Mhm.
So
Well, I think so I do agree with that. But through what I've been doing, I've also noticed basically a human behavioral trait. And we've talked about balance a lot, and I talk about universal balance all the time. And people have asked me, like, well, if there's all these people creating, then who's buying? And it is this odd thing, and it sounds, I don't know if it sounds presumptuous or if it sounds how it comes off, but there's this odd thing that I don't worry about it. I don't care, because there will be a pool of people who will buy it. And the only reason I know that is because I have given countless people what I would consider the key to making millions of dollars. And it is as simple as the words coming out of my mouth right now. It's never been easier. I could show you how to do it anytime you want for free. I just know you won't. I've done it for so many people, and not a single person has done it yet. And even when I show them how, they're all blown away. They're, wow, you really can. Like, that's so crazy. I've shown groups of people. I've built like an entire brand, like within 30 minutes, right? Which isn't like, oh shit, that's it and that's all I have to do. But it's like, you can be so far off the ground running in so little time. It's insane. So to say that you can't get to market with a software that you can develop for any reason at all, but you can even just do it, go research reasons to develop a piece of software. Now, look, I'm not saying that everybody loves doing that and it's a passionate thing, but most everybody loves money. Most everybody's passionate about money. And yet you still have to have the will.
Yeah.
You have to have the want and the will to be able to see the whole thing through. So, yeah, it is going to be easy for everybody to do, but not everyone is going to do it. And I know how simple that sounds, and I know how like silly that sounds or whatever. But it's the same. I think about, the world of abundance, and people talk about like, oh, so nobody's going to be working and everybody's just going to be laying around doing nothing. And it's like, no, I see the same U-shaped curve that we have now. It just looks a lot better than it does now. So in other words, it looks like a world where, okay, well, if money's not involved, what's the deal? It looks like a world where, yes, there are people who don't and or can't contribute to society, right? But they don't end up homeless, and they don't end up like, just whatever, thrown away from society. They actually have a place to live. They get along with everybody else. It is what it is. They spend their lives like the rest of us do now, right? And then there's going to be a middle segment of us, the middle class, and those people are going to contribute towards society. And they're in whatever way they want. It's not even going to be a job. It's just, you're going to do what you want to do, and it just happens to help other people. Maybe you're going to help the other people who don't contribute to, I don't know, whatever it is that you do, right? People want to do shit. Somebody told me, well, if you have the machines thinking for you, what are you going to do? And I said, well, think of something.
Literally anything else.
Like, that's the whole point. If you don't have to think of the shit that you do now, you'll start thinking of new stuff that you weren't doing before. It's like, it's almost that easy.
Or that, like, of anything. That's what our brains are designed to do. So
Right.
literally, you're about to remove the constraint. You won't be able to go clock in for 40 hours a week. Like, you won't have to go to this place and that place, or talk to this person and that person that you've never enjoyed doing, but you have to deal with it, right?
Mhm.
And like, it's not up to your will, right? You have to
Right.
do it, and that takes energy, like in all the things that we're talking about, and you just remove those things, and it's easy because, like, pop culture and movies and things like Idiocracy exist, to think that, oh, just everybody's just gonna go sit in the couch and just like waste away. It's like,
But here's the thing,
maybe
right?
like a small amount of people like might choose to do that, but most of the time that will not be. It just won't be the case.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like if we had even one sponsor, right? Which I mean, eventually we will. But if we had even one sponsor, you could say that we get paid to sit around and talk, right?
Mhm.
So, um, go back 10 years. Is this even possible? What we're doing right now? Kinda, but it looks really shitty. It has terrible, shitty quality, and the odds that like me and Chris might have
And
to
it,
actually record it not live. That being live would be we wouldn't have the bandwidth to even do
yeah,
it.
it's harder. So I wouldn't be doing it. I can tell you right now.
Not as many shows as you do. No, no way.
Right,
Right. And
right.
so like go back 10 years before that, right? So podcasting's not a thing. Fine. We were still like basically, let's just say we were doing office work, right? Now, again, go back 20 years. Who's working from home? Very few people. Very few. Not a majority of people work from home today. I think it's like 10 or 15% or something like that. So it's pretty small. But yeah, people honestly throw me into that huge group when I say that I work from home and they don't ask what I do. They don't ask what I do first, right? They just like they basically say like, "Oh, do you work around here?" Which immediately makes me have to say, "No, I work from home." Um, and immediately I'm thrown into that bucket of like, "Oh, you're one of those." And it's like, "No, no, I'm sorry, I'm not." Like, I barely have time to do my laundry sometimes because, oh shit, like I'm glued to my desk to the point where my wife has to remind me to eat, right? Like that. And why? It's because my environment is so much more comfortable that I want to spend more time doing what I love because I don't have to think about the commute. I don't have to deal with the minutia. I don't have to deal with like, oh, I got to go somewhere to go eat, and then I got to deal with humans while I'm standing in line, and they're going to be pissed, even though we're all getting sandwiches anyway. Like, it's that whole thing, right? Instead of that, it's just like, oh man, wake up and I just get to fuck shit up with AI like every day.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, I'm gonna go get lunch, but I just want to go. But am I gonna feel bad if I don't ask them what they want? Then they're gonna
are we all going to go
expect me to pick it
together?
up, and I don't really want to pick up anything. Like, and I just want to go get in, get out, right? Or I just want to sit there by myself and enjoy a meal. And all these, this is completely hypothetical, of course. This has never happened in my life.
Mm-mm.
But all those, that's all decision making energy that gets
Yes.
spent every day, and it pulls away. And some people, there are some days where it's like, I miss that, like for sure, right?
Yep.
I do get energy from being in an office situation, and that's why I've literally developed a situation where I have a client that I can go spend time with in person, right? And scratch that itch. Um, and sometimes we do remote stuff. And that's like everybody, the more that this stuff becomes accessible, right? And this is just like a small sliver example of this window of build the life that you want to build exactly the way that you want it. And because you want it that way,
Mhm.
in a way that doesn't like tell everybody else to like F off and actually decrease their situation,
Right.
right? Um, like that's here basically. Uh, and as costs go down, as development gets to zero, um as productivity goes to zero, like this is what people are naturally gonna find because you won't have like the choice of no choice,
Mhm.
like will be gone. It's just
Right.
gonna be gone. And because it's gonna get to the point where there is that path, right, of 40 hours a week, right, 8 to 5. But who's taking that path? Like, at some point, nobody's going down that path because it was a manufactured, like, construct
Mhm.
for us all to be managed in, and this
Right.
is why we like, shortcut to the beginning of the show where it's like, yeah, the middle management layer just created just to support that. It's the first thing on the way out. Like, from a perspective of the first like horizontal job layer, right? That's just like it's 100% to manage human complexity that is unnecessary.
And I gotta tell you, the evolution happens in more than one way. And I like to say, like, everywhere, everything everywhere all at once, right? What I'm starting to see in the ecosystem, I don't know if you've seen it, is people owning client end to end. Which means what? What does that translate to? It means there's no sales because it's not even really necessary. Not even like it's not a matter of, oh, well, there's no sales because AI is doing the sales or AI is the BDR or something like that. It's not even necessary now because the people who do the job to begin with are the ones who are actually talking through the process and talking through the deal. And that makes the most sense because if I'm talking to, I don't know, if I want to get my job done on my car, right? I would hope that the manager that I'm talking to used to be a mechanic on some level, even if they were a shit mechanic. If they had the terminology, that'd be good enough, right? I don't expect to go to whatever Midas and talk to, the regional manager that doesn't know shit about mechanics, but he knows everything about numbers and finance, right?
Yeah, please
Like,
let me avoid that guy.
what's that gonna? Yeah, like what is that gonna do for
No
me? Right?
value.
No, he's
That
gonna push me on the
conversation
credit
creates
card.
no value for me.
Gonna
Right?
try to drive me on the finance card. He's gonna, everything I don't want to do except for the
Yes.
thing that I do want to actually get done. Right?
And it's so interesting to hear you say this because this is when I say digital layer of complexity, like via SaaS, this is exactly what I'm talking about. In manufacturing, this is a huge part of the reason why they have not adopted things like CRMs that are built for handoffs and built for siloing the process because they do have full funnel account managers that own the entire relationship. And that's why, like, I had to learn the hard way coming into organizations that, like, heaven forbid, marketing or customer service make contact with that customer without the salesperson being in the loop or even like allowing it, right? That's really what it is. Like, if you do it without them knowing and they didn't permit it in some way, like, holy hell, like that could ruin, and it in the wrong ways, it could ruin relationships because it's unexpected. Maybe you're saying the thing that the salesperson said was the opposite of just the other day. And that's how they've gotten, like, that's the old way. Before digital existed, that was the only thing you could really do. Like, because marketing and everybody else served a customer like through a point of contact, right? And that made it easier for the company to serve and for the customers to get, trusted information that they wanted. And that's where we are going back to that, right? And now
Yep.
it's funny to watch like SaaS kind of catch up or like realize the way that they've been trying to do it for years, not the right way. And when you have Clay with the GTM engineering concept, like we've literally been putting up barriers between value and the customer because of this process built around these systems that we've been working in. Like the whole concept of BDRs and SDRs, it's nonsensical, right? Because you need to show me how you're going to create value for me if we're going to keep going forward. And you're going to put some junior in front of me that has no idea
Well,
like what their product even does and how it serves my business. And somehow these questions of how much budget do I have? Let's see, budget. Can I even make the decision? Authority, which I'm never going to give you like the actual answer to, because I just want to move forward in this process and find some way to get value.
Yep.
How deep is my pain, right? The need. Well, I don't really, especially when I know how this process works. I do that to HubSpots. Like the amount of times I have to introduce myself to like a new HubSpot person, no matter what team they're on. I'm like, I'm to the point. Can like just go to my record? Like, please, I don't want to say this over again. I don't want to talk about like my pains and challenges and my background and just give you the whole story. If I don't know, it's going to result in like some sort of value. And so
Right.
why would we go as deep on the pain as we could, as nuanced on the pain as we could, if we know the person in front of us doesn't understand it completely and they're just trying to check some boxes? And then timing, right? Like, especially now with going fast as we're going, it's turning into trust milestones instead of time. Like, as soon as we get it, as soon as it clicks, I want it right now. Right. So I might tell you 90 days or like end of quarter because there's some other thing going on. But if you can feel the value that you're going to get if you engage immediately, then you will engage as fast as you can. Right. And so this whole layer of BDRs and SDRs just doesn't apply anymore.
And
Right.
even though it might sound rude saying it like that. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, in those cases where it's like, okay, well, what happens to BDRs and SDRs then? I got to tell you, if you asked the general public, like, oh my gosh, salespeople are going to lose their jobs, you are not going to like the completely unsympathetic answer to that, right? Like, people have been looking down on that one since the door to door, right? Like, they started it, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were the first ones to piss everybody off,
Yeah.
and then
It's
it
like
went from that to like
level is like Congress, sales, marketing. Like not like wide margins either. It's like 4%, 5%, 6%, or something like that. Right. And it's like,
oh
and if
my
you think
god.
AI doesn't know that at this point, you're out of your mind. Right.
Oh
So,
man.
and here's the reason I feel so strongly is that those, let's just say marketing and sales. I'm not going to get political on this, but marketing and sales is now using AI to try and do marketing and sales stuff. And AI is going to help us do that to the max. So we see these BDRs and SDR agents, and we see our email inboxes getting smashed. Meanwhile, on the other side, the same people who get excited about ad blockers in their browser are using AI from that side. And
Yep.
AI is going to help them do that kind of stuff. And that inherently will cut to value way faster because it's for the consumer, it's for the buyer, it's not for the marketing and sales folks that have some kind of nonsensical system set up to create value for everybody else but the customer. Right. In that training, this is like, obviously I'm not an expert on how all these systems work, but intuitively, this is why I feel so strongly about value first. Like, if it's a like natural law level, like universal law, like get to the value as quickly as possible, the marketing and sales way that SaaS is created for like makes zero sense. Right. And
Right.
AI is just going to be continually learning that over and over with the exchanges that it has with the buyer and the customers. And it's just like, it's not long for this world, folks. Like, so, and now like, and AI enables this full funnel account management like never
that is
before.
the
Right.
thing, right? that's why I was talking about, her being able to run her own business, right? The capability is there because of the fact that the layers that would otherwise keep you from being able to do it just go away, so that you can. Like, all she has to do is care deeply about the customer and care deeply about what she's passionate about with putting these gift boxes together, right? She's a people person, so like there's the perfect marriage. Like, now she doesn't have to like get frustrated about staying up late at night, like balancing numbers or whatever the hell it might be, right? And for anybody that runs a business currently, there is, whether you realize it or not, especially in our line of work, there is the greatest disconnect between sales and services, where sales is just trying to sell and services are just trying to do their job. But often, sales, in order to get the sale, will sell shit that services either doesn't do or isn't necessary, or it's the wrong thing in the first place, right? I've listened to people give me like the most horrific stories of stuff that basically amounts to malpractice surgery, right? Like, that's what it ends up being, is that like, hey, they signed you up for heart transplant, but damn, man, that's your heart's totally fine, but turns out that your liver definitely like needs some looking at. Not that badly, but you don't even need a transplant realistically. I mean, we just, we're taking a look at it. It's not so, that's the kind of stuff that ends up happening. There's a horrific, people talk about like the handoff between marketing and sales, right? Who cares? Because the handoff between sales and service is horrific. And who is the customer supposed to have a relationship with at the end of the day? Should the relationship of the client be owned by the salesperson, or should it be owned by the marketing outreach, or should it be owned by the service, like the service person who actually did the job, right? Like, when you get your car worked on, you usually talk to the manager, right? And then only if it gets like really in depth, the manager finally admits that they don't know shit and they didn't work on the car. So I'll go get the mechanic that actually worked on your car. Okay, well, now I care because that's the guy I wanted to talk to in the first place. I didn't want to talk to the middle management.
Yeah.
I didn't want the person in between. I just wanted to talk to the person who worked on the car. Right. So yeah, at the end of the day, you don't, like, that layer really shouldn't exist. The layer between the person who's doing the work and the person that they're doing the work for, that's the only layer there needs to ever be. It should always just be an introduction of, hey, this is the new client we're going to be working with. Here's the person that's going to be working on your account. They're going to help you, put the scope together for what you need, right? Because you're scoping projects anyway, right? Like most RevOps people, most service people, you've got your decks, you've got your spreadsheets, like you have like all of the framework you need anyway. So all you're doing, I'm not trying to boil it down. I'm just saying it's easier for the expert to sell the shit that they know how to do. Now, if it was like if it was a service person who then became a salesperson, I can guarantee you they are the best salesperson on your team.
In every single industry and vertical.
I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to think about it, right? I know it from personal experience. I used to build computers, and then I took a job selling computers, and I destroyed everybody in my department because I knew everything about computers. So it was very easy for me to answer every single customer question without ever having to be like, oh, well, let me go look that up, or oh, well, let me go look in the computer. No, I knew it. Whatever it is, I'm talking to a customer. Other salespeople are coming up to me asking me questions about computers. So then it looks even, you know what I mean? So but I owned the customer from the moment that they walked into my department to the moment they walked I would go get their cart for them and then go put their shit in their cart and walk with them up to the sales desk, right? So like I owned it start to finish, even way back in the day. So like that's the way it should be, because the relationship that the person should have with the business, again, it should be with that service person that actually did the work. That's who's worth going back to. I'm not going back to a business, just because like, oh, the owner's such a nice guy. I don't even care if they fuck my stuff up. I'll keep going anyway. I've never, ever. The only time you might hear something like that is like, well, they don't do that great a job, but guy it's so cheap. Right. That's the only time you hear somebody that's willing to sacrifice, is if it's just so stupidly cheap that, okay, they're willing to accept a couple fuck ups and, maybe try to fix it on their end. Right.
Or when you're settling, because there's the other options are just as
take too long or whatever. Right? Yeah.
Which is still way more prevalent than, again, AI is going to solve for a lot of this. But speaking of things that have been owned start to finish, and talking directly to the subject matter expert, I would love to show your app that I know you've been passionate about. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. There we go. CRM Monster. I like it already.
So the CRM Monster was born out of the idea that, like when I first started working with GPT, I was in RevOps and I didn't know. Look, nobody told me, and I don't give a shit about the rules anyway, right? Because we live in a profession where we write the rules ourselves. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. There are no degrees required for any of the shit that we do. You just have to be really good at what you do, and you have to be really passionate about it. That's all that's required. That's all that should ever be required of you. It should never be the case of like, well, you have to fill your brain with all this shit, otherwise you can't do it, right? So now I have this brain, and it knows how to do all the stuff, so I might as well use it and apply it, right? So I just figured like, yeah, why I work in workflows all the time. Why wouldn't I want to learn how to do custom coded actions, right? So I started getting into custom coded actions, and it's like, you know what? What's even cooler than this is like working with the API, like raw, like out of like VS, like externally, like that. You can do some sick shit with that, right? Like barely do as much stuff with like internal, because you can start doing pagination and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And you're not limited to this like little 20-second timer. So then I start getting into like coding into like Python and Node, and it's like I don't even really know anything about this stuff, but starting to learn more and more about it, learning how to read it, how to interact with it, and essentially like how to talk to the autocoders, in a way that they understand what it is that I want, instead of me just talking in a very generic language and hoping for the best. So out of that came this idea of, it's awesome that I can do these things. And it's awesome that, I've taken the time to learn how to do these things. What sucks is so many RevOps people need to do this stuff, for one. And two, so many clients need these types of services, but there are so few like people basically on hand who know how to do it, and who know how to do it well, and have the skill to be able to set it up and all that kind of stuff, that it should just exist as a software platform. Now, I know what you're thinking. It does exist as a software platform. It's in HubSpot now, and it's called Operations Hub. I know that. And I know that there's a lot you can do with Ops Hub, and the whole custom coded actions, like within workflows, amazing. And it can do a lot of this stuff. But unfortunately, there still is like this whole section of things in the API, both in CMS, there's object related stuff. What you're looking at, like these are all functions of things that you can do that you absolutely cannot do from the platform, right? Like I don't know, you want to do a blog post audit. There you go. That's everything you need. But maybe you know how to do it. Maybe you don't. I'm not even joking when I say that, like, when I first got into this stuff, it took a minute. It took like a day or so to like wrap my head around, like, oh, okay, this is how that works. Here's what a CLI is. Like, here's how I'm supposed to use Visual Studio, like all of that stuff, right? Like, kind of fumbling my way through. And so, because of all of that, I really, and this is nothing against anyone in particular, it's nothing against any system in particular. I just hate this shit. And whenever I innately hate something, I want to take it and make it simple so that nobody else ever has to deal with this shit. So that's what I did. And I went, took Replit and said, hey, I want to build a CRM monster. And the objective of this, Cthulhu-like monster is that it does everything that you can do in the docs. So I'm not even joking when I say that basically what I've been doing is going through and telling it, like, hey, go to the docs, go read how to do this thing, and then come back and make a new section and put in all the capabilities to it. I can't yet tell you. It threw a curveball at me yesterday, and it just threw in this section. I'm not sure what it had intended for this. I know what I have intended for this. So I actually asked, I got to find out what the answer is. I actually asked it, like, hey, what was your intention behind the sync sections? But, this came out actually like really faster than I thought because of the fact that, like, again, like client work. So, RevOps, and not even RevOps, but just like TSEs and other SEs, they need to be able to import stuff, or they need to be able to export stuff, like in bulk, right? Or just in general. And maybe not everybody, of course. Oh yeah. So maybe not everybody has one ready. No.
Everything that results in it's just an API call.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't want to do API calls.
Right. So, now you can, obviously you can do imports, any way you want to, right? But, and same thing, you can do exports from the CRM, like in any event, right? I don't know how you can do bulk actions though, like bulk action update, which I really love it. Bulk action update all records. If you wanted to bulk archive records, if you're bulk updating, what type of bulk update you want to do. This is going to change. I wasn't expecting it to show up in this way because I told it that I want to be able to do things based on arrays. So it doesn't quite, whatever. We're working through it. And then even just recently, so like, even though I didn't want it to be that complex, I told it, like, I don't know, a couple hours ago, go through the entire application and put information circles everywhere to be able to give more detail to each section in terms of like how it should be done, what it needs, all that kind of stuff. So even though I didn't even add in like, or what eventually I'm going to do is replace this with just toggles, right? So you just pick whatever it is that you're going to update. Based on once you've put your key in, it'll just pull. So like that's the stuff that you can't necessarily do, right? Once you put your key in, it's going to pull all of your properties. So you'll just be able to go through and pick which ones you're trying to update. And if you want to add a property, I'm going to include that so that you're going to be able to bulk add properties to the CRM as well. All of that stuff has schemas. It all has APIs, right? And it's like people don't really necessarily know how to do all of this shit. So to me, it was too easy of a problem to solve where it's like, yeah, look, it should be a case where somebody just goes to the software, puts your API key in, and then, okay, let's go to work, right? And then you just pick what you need to do and you go ahead and do it, right? Whether you want to configure your export, you can add filtering conditions. That is, you can, again, do the same thing you can do filter conditions when you when you export. And then what I loved about this was I give you the samples for all of these, and the sample might as well be, it's not quite a full file, but the sample has like pretty much, no, let's do this way. It's not like HubSpot samples. Let's just put it that way. It's pretty much a full poll, not a poll, but like it's all the standard fields that you would fill in. So for somebody, again, for somebody that doesn't know how to do like a spreadsheet import, right? It's not like, oh, you're just going to get it and you won't know anything. It's like it's already got like the internal values as well, so it's not going to like fuck up in some way. The next step to this, so like what is so great about this that's going to be different than like what HubSpot has. I think I have it already plugged in. I have to double check, but it's going to have a LLM on the back end that looks at your columns. And if something's not formatted properly, it's just going to automatically format it for you. Now, yeah, HubSpot has that kinda, but not really. Like sometimes there's stuff that like it can't create an option for, and then it asks you if you want to create a whole new field for it because it doesn't have that option in a field that you already have, right? Sometimes you can add stuff, sometimes you can't, sometimes there's read-only stuff, but some of that read-only shit you can actually manipulate with the backend API. So there are going to be actions that you're going to be able to do with this that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, and especially when it comes to, again, importing and modifying data. Like I think like bulk action is probably one of the better things. Being able to like bulk update fields, bulk update forms, like bulk update blogs. Again, like even being able to export, not just like if you were doing a workflow audit or something like that, being able to export like all data in a particular way. And then like the audit is going to be, it's going to be a whole other thing. It's going to be a whole additional layer to this, basically, where like when you do the export, it's going to even have like a little sort of like meter or something about the export that you did. But yeah, it also stores like all the exports or jobs that you've ever done, keeps track of any errors that might have happened. And then you can obviously export the CSV of the records that got pulled. And then the pull, so like let's say you just need to do like whatever simple pull just to get stuff, right? The export from here is like seconds, even on like thousands of records. It's way faster. Like yeah, you are definitely pulling a crap ton of data either way, but it's just, or I should say you're doing a lot of API calls either way, but it's just faster. And especially when you do the bulk update, you're definitely, so like it goes and grabs pretty much everything that it can find like on a record. So it's not just doing like a bullshit grab on top of that. So yeah, it's a little bit more efficient because you do an export here and it's just whatever is available. It's not like all of the stuff that like you end up with like 217 properties or whatever, and like 150 of them don't even have shit in it, right? So that it's a little bit of a smarter way of working around like ops hub stuff. You're going to be able to, like, you can basically, I know it's hard for some people to be able to imagine what something looks like in the end. But if you can't imagine, again, like you're going to be able to do any action that you see in the reference, you're going to be able to do with this app. So all of this stuff, if you want to get all site pages, right? Stuff that's not very easy to do, like to do right out of the box, right? Let's see, one of the cool, so like doing stuff with deal pipelines, stage audits, right? Like, I don't know that people know that this exists, right? But now, like, it is. Now it's something that you can actually pull, right? Same thing for pipelines, right? Not sensitive data. What is it? Marketing. So you can do pretty much anything that you have going on in marketing. You can pull information on. Same thing for automation. You can create workflows out of there. So of course, I can essentially, at some point, there will be like your own ability to just create workflows, and it'll be hopefully a lot simpler than what's in. And what I'll end up doing, right, is you'll end up with a tool that the workflows that get created are pretty much going to be like custom coded workflows, because those are the best type to be able to create, right?
Yeah.
But then I'll have a separate one that's going to be standard workflows, and you'll be able to create standard ones as well, and then import them right into HubSpot. And so, like, what ends up being the overall end result is eventually that all becomes the underlying layer to your new tech stack, which is going to be a chat that you talk to, and the chat is going to be able to use all of those tools to be able to do all of those functions, right? And be able to perform all of those things. And so it's 6 of one, half of the other. Either I finish what I'm doing first, or they open up the API library wide to MCP. Whoever gets there first. And if you ain't first,
Yeah. I hear you. That's exactly where I was going to go with it. In terms of, like, this is why they're in legacy companies, like, are in a tough spot, because this is what I was expecting you to go towards. And I'm glad you didn't, because usually people go right here, and it's like, as soon as we get to the budget conversation, you're just missing most of the, like, value of the platform. It's like, well, why would I pay $800 a month just to do custom coded actions? It's like, you wouldn't fucking pay $800 a month just to do custom coded actions. And if that's all you're going to do, don't pay $800 a month. Like, but if we're real, here's all of the other things that can help your business if you choose to invest. And you can have those conversations with any of the hubs. It's like one of the most frustrating things about HubSpot. It's like, if we're talking about money and the cost of the thing, then we're not in a good place. And it's just not the right investment, because it's so, and this is the SaaS trap, in my opinion. Everybody wants to talk about everything from a point solution perspective. And it makes zero sense to talk about the investment of a platform like HubSpot from a vantage point of one single, like, functionality or app within the tool. Makes zero sense. That's not why you do it in HubSpot. But now, like, the easier it is to do these things without paying $800 a month, like, because most of the energy applied in that situation is understanding, oh, well, what else can I do with Ops Hub, and what does that make sense for my business, and do I have the people that can set that up and maintain it, and, like, all these things that are required for true adoption and value. I can just go over here and try it first, because the APIs, like, are available. Like, they announce that stuff. You don't necessarily always have the documentation ready for it, but I've heard it's open, like, read and write access now open. When you have a platform, like, if what this CRM monster would allow for is like, oh, well, I don't have to wait for HubSpot to, like, figure out the logistics of making it available for everybody, and I can just get to it my damn self and start managing it that way, right? So from both let's say a novice layer and an advanced layer, which is what most of the part that I've not learned and that I don't want to learn are the people the developers that say, oh yeah, I can just make that API call real quick. Like they've got their own like local interface that they've set up to where it's very easy to put in these commands to quickly pull all the things and to quickly update all the things that are available, right? The rest of us mere mortals don't have that or haven't had that. And that's why, your point about is it widely available via MCP? It's not a point of if, it's like when, right? And I think very likely it's a business model, revenue model conversation more so than it is capability to do it, right? Because if they start letting you bulk update everything via Claude or Chat GPT, like at which level are they? What does the usage limitation look like to prevent you from bypassing most of the licensing like fees? Like which one license do you actually need at that point to be able to do all the things? And that's where if you don't have Ops Hub Pro, like you probably wouldn't get very far in terms of like you could have the LLM or the tool like make the custom coded action for you, but it couldn't actually execute it like inside of the HubSpot platform if you don't have Ops Hub. But then
if
you
you
just make the functionality outside of HubSpot to transform or manage the data or do the thing.
Yep.
Right. This is literally like my customized platform. This is what that looks like. That's what I'm telling people MCP stand for. That's what it stands for. It's actually Model Context Protocol. But in reality, my customized platform, like for me and no one else.
I still like master control program.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I saw the preview for the Neutron last weekend. Oh man,
God.
I'm so excited for that.
Wait.
But yeah, HubSpot has to continually, like, at a faster rate than everybody else for all the things, continue these quality of life improvements, right? Because these things that just get in the way, they've been annoying. Like as you were doing that, I did my own export of all the properties in HubSpot because there's a recent change where it's like on the enumeration options in the spreadsheet, it's like JSON, right? They've changed it. So now it's just the options, and it just like you would see in the drop down and no extra brackets or anything like that. Right. Another change that I don't know how long it's been in place is that they put the custom object ID right next to the word. Like, so I have custom objects, one is a deliverable, and now on the Excel tab, it says the custom object ID right next to it, which I appreciate. And it's another way to say like this is a custom object and not something else that has been renamed in the system.
Right.
And these little things are the things that's like, all right, I've downloaded it. Now I'm going to try and do the thing. It's not working because I don't have the ID. Get confused. I don't want to read through this JSON string of 50 options. So now I'm just going to go to the dev and ask them to do their API stuff. And, but all of us individually have access to increase our own quality of life, like as we access this tool set, like Nico is showing here.
And that's the thing, right? Is that like it's not so much so like the reason I'm doing it is because like I want my team to be able to basically like not only do like to be able to just go to one place to do all their stuff. Like if they want to do importing objects, the next thing that's going to have is properties. Same thing for export if they want to be able to export specific properties, um, whatever it might be. So that again, you don't have to download an entire spreadsheet with like whatever 20 tabs of shit when you only need like 8.
It's not fun.
That's like it's the little things.
Exactly.
And again, to be able to give this to an entire department of people of the team that like it's not even like couldn't do it, just didn't have the time to go learn how to do it, right? Like I'm sure they want to, but they don't have the time. And knowledge over time should not be a punishment. And it shouldn't come as a detriment. And anybody who says that it should, there's something wrong with you. That you want to sit there and hold knowledge away from somebody else and use that as some sort of monetary means of gain. Like, I don't understand that. Interestingly, again, like I didn't know why it put the sync category in here. Apparently it intends to allow my users to be able to just sync shit with their other HubSpot CRM in real time.
Yeah. It's basically like, Nico, I appreciate what you're doing, but professionally, like we can't be doing all this importing and exporting, bro. Like, should just be syncing the systems at some point.
Like, right? Like, come on now. This seems silly. Why don't we just connect them and let it go?
Okay,
right?
that you don't go right there. I've got some best practice information, and I'm gonna just throw it out here. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Like there's so much sunk cost that happens in projects. Like you might have known that was the path, but the work to get syncs to work is formidable, right? And you get into questions that very quickly take you into complexity and cost levels that you're not prepared for. Is it syncing dynamically all the time? Is it syncing every 5 minutes, every hour? How do we know which one should sync when? Like those are the conversations that never happen, right? So we just default to either export, import only, or it's syncing all the time and we're paying out the ass and then creating dynamic systems we don't need because we don't need everything looking at each other all at the same time, all at once. Like, we just don't. We just need this trigger. Oh, and we don't know our process well enough to tell you when that trigger is and whether or not these 10 people all won the deal at the same time for the same reason. But now, like you can try it like very quickly, and then if it doesn't, just remove it. Like go back to the way it was, right? And the historical, this is where we can tie it to the development of these platforms. Like a lot of the quality of life updates of HubSpot recently, especially with CRM, is understanding like historical editing of properties. And even at that level, being able to revert back, just like you could on a web page, like go find the previous version, click on the button, and then, just go back in a matter of seconds, can do that with the CRM data now, right? And that was like my first experience with making properties with Claude. It was like, we go through it and he makes 50 properties. And then I remember something. I'm like, oh man, what about this situation? And I could just delete those properties, like make some new ones, like after talking it through. And those moments where it's another hour, it's another 5 hours that we're paying for somebody else to do that. We don't do it, and we end up with less than systems that don't get adopted, right? This is why this is so impactful. It's a different mindset of the IT world, in my opinion, where you can just, fuck around and find out in these ways. But it matches the HubSpot like mindset and ecosystem, the way that the ecosystem, like we just now have a sandbox that can push to production. Like, that's only been allowed because everybody's comfortable working in production
Right.
in ways that sometimes they shouldn't be, but also sometimes, most of the time, they don't have to be so worrisome because you can add an extra option to a drop-down property without any fear of bringing down the whole system, which most traditional system, I don't say most, a lot of traditional systems don't work that way. That's why everything is a 6-month IT project with UAT testing and all this stuff. And you know inherently all of that stuff is complexity that you don't want to have to deal with. You feel like you shouldn't have to deal with. And now you don't have to deal with it. It's just about coming to these places. In this case, we're looking at Replit here
Mhm.
and just seeing, like, hey, can I do this? Like, the math adds up where APIs are available. I know I can do this via the API. Let's see if I can do it.
Right.
Right?
It really is. It's like, if that's actually the new, not just currency. I mean, like, that's the way to go about doing stuff at this point. Like, it really doesn't matter. Your software suite doesn't matter. It's like the capability of your software, and then your ability to allow that capability as a tool to some model. Like, that's the end result of SaaS at this point, is that you are building tools for models to use. And you'll build them in the same way, that you were building them before, that you were building them for specific use case. But it's just that now there's going to be so many more specific use cases, right? There's going to be the capability of somebody who is like, CRM is not going to be, and you know, here's where it gets difficult, in the sense that, like, I have a perfect model for most people who are in development who think that zero cost development's bullshit. Um, and I've given this a couple of times, so just be quick. 5 years ago would have definitely cost you about $1 million to get off the ground, just to design some like shit software. Would have cost you $1 million in your first year, and you wouldn't make money probably until like year 3 or 4. Okay. Now it costs you about, if it costs you $300 in your first year, I would say that it was because all of a sudden your shit took off and your usage rates went so high that you had to start paying more per month. It would be crazy to me if you told me that, like, it cost you $1,000 to do it and then you didn't see black in the first year, which is unheard of. Let alone first, like, you could start in January and probably, I wish I was joking, start in January and probably see like 100 grand by the end of the year. ARR. Like, honestly, almost like at a minimum, assuming that you were developing a software that was even mildly necessary. Just do the math, guys. Do the math. Like, $10 a month times what? 1,000 people, right? It's pretty easy to find 1,000 customers that need like some type of software that's like in some minutia. Of the people who are working, it's like 170 million just in this country alone. Oh shit, that's right. Software goes internationally because it's software. So now your market went from 170 million to, I don't know, 2-3 billion, something like that. At least 2 billion that could afford it, right? At $10 a month. So I think you can find a 1,000 people in that haystack, right? Like, that's how easy it is when we talk about like things are changing. And from that example, it's like, yeah, I don't know how you don't understand the cost of development just plummeting through the floor, because it not only costs you nothing to get off the ground, but now it costs you nothing to like even get started with any of it. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
Do yeah, export blog posts.
Oh shit, what? It's not integrated. Of course it does, but we're gonna have to go ahead and just change the brain. And also, draft versions. All sorts of batch stuff we can do. Yeah, right. Like create a batch of long posts. So I wish I could have both of these menus open at the same time. Would be perfect. Alas. And so when and that's another thing, like when people are like, oh, well, I don't understand how some people get results that like other people don't. Again, like garbage in, garbage out. So it kind of depends on how you're talking to the model about. Darmash, dude, what's up?
Anything?
Yeah, like as opposed to just asking about something in general. I don't know why this is so broken right now.
Yeah, like this is what we mean when we say like, you could try yourself to do it 10 times to do it the 10 different ways in HubSpot, or you could chat with us who have done it in the 10 different ways so that we can tell you the one way that's going to work.
Again, I mean, like it's got an underlying. I think when you put it on thinking, it's like 3-7 thinking. No, it's probably 4 with extended thinking. And then going above that would be like Opus, basically. So like if you're wondering like what are the different agent tool settings, which this is new, it's amazing by the way. I think if you don't have like regular dynamic intelligence on, you're essentially using Sonnet 4. If you do have dynamic intelligence on, yeah, it's just extended thinking. So it's basically Sonnet 4 with that. And then I think if you go to like high power model, it's Opus 4. That's what I figured. And there is like difference in like why, again, just like using the models normally, there is a difference in like why use one to do some tasks but not another. It's essentially like, okay, if I needed to have it change the name on stuff or update the colors to something or whatever, I'm using my junior developer. I'm just using regular whatever with no extended thinking because it's very easy jobs, very easy task. Actually, in most of those cases, I'm just using the assistant. So like the agent could cost you, who knows? Depends on what the job is, how long the job takes, the type of mode you used, all that kind of stuff. Could be anywhere from, honestly, like on an action like this, it could be anywhere from like 80 cents to maybe $2, $2.50, something like that, right? You got to think about it, the price. Okay, so a lot of people, I keep hearing this bitching about the cost, and it's just killing me because if it costs you $1,000 to develop a piece of software, you are still saving $999,000, right? So like, quit bitching. When I see this stuff, it's like it could cost you that on regular, or this assistant is 5 cents no matter what. So if you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing, which I got to tell you, if you know what you're doing when you work with these models, you can just ask it even though a lot of them are like agentic, you can get away with just asking it questions about stuff. And so, and I do it all the time. And I say, question, whatever the hell it is that I'm talking about, even on the agent mode, doesn't cost me anything. I'm just asking it a question, right? I'm not saying it's all for free. If you ask like 5 questions in a row, it's going to charge you like, I don't know, 10 cents or something like that. But on the assistant, you actually don't get charged for questions. So you just keep going all day. But again, if I knew I needed to make the same update that I'm making right now, and I knew exactly how to do it, and I knew exactly how to add it here, and I could tell it, add a new card to this, div, and have it have these things inside. And I knew enough of the technical jargon to be able to, not jargon, if I knew enough of the technical knowledge to be able to do it, I could use the assistant and get it all done in 5 cents, right? Otherwise, I have to use the agent, and who knows, this whole change probably costing me $1.50. We'll see in just a second.
19 actions available now.
Right. It's I don't know. It basically took me seriously and said, oh shit, he does want all of this stuff in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so finished all of that. 3 minutes of work cost me 59 cents for 3 minutes of work. I don't know how long it would have taken a developer to do that. I don't. I'm sure there's a lot of testing involved and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there is a reason why you would pay whatever it is that it costs. I'm also very sure that it costs way more than 50, 60 cents for 3 minutes of a developer's time. If you're breaking down their per hour rate, I can guarantee you it costs more than 60 cents, right? Per the minute or whatever, per 3 minutes. Yeah. So, all right, it's obviously not going to, need some massaging or whatever, but
look at that. And the key human in the loop moment here.
So I need a back
was Nico saying, yeah, even though there's import-export functionality with the blog, everything else has been CRM records up to this point. The blog behaves differently, so that doesn't make sense to force it into import-export functionality alongside everything else. Let's make a separate category, just for the blog. And this is so representative of where people struggle with CRM development. Because I'm sure you could have even asked Replit here, where it's like, hey man, this is not making sense. CRM and blog are different. How do you think we should move forward? But it doesn't make sense to restrict the blog to the same 9 or 10 actions that we have for the CRM. Or it shouldn't just be another action within that, which I think is what it did the first time. How can we do it differently? It's probably going to suggest its own category. And now we see 19 actions for blog versus different set of actions. And when we try to develop things all together, this happens in deals, right? The whole reason to use separate objects sometimes because we think we can only use one deal pipeline, and now deal stages are 16 of them because we are doing our whole business process inside of a deal because that's where we think we have to do it. And now sales hates it, and service hates it, and marketing hates it, and executives hate it because you don't have any reporting clarity. Oh, we could go on all day. But unfortunately, we can't. But this should be a taste. I mean, this is what reimagining the tech stack looks like. And that's where if you can believe that it needs to be reimagined, then the way that we've been doing things doesn't hold up. Because we're not starting from the place of software development being locked away, behind a group of people or a group of companies that you had to go through to do it. So very cool. Excited to see the progress here, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing I really hope that people take away from it is that it really is as easy as what you're looking at, right? It has been this easy of a process where it's just okay, and this is what vibe coding looks like, right? In case you were wondering, it's it just looks like this process where you're just playing tennis back and forth with ideas and conversation, essentially. And, you know, again, it's like, okay, the stuff is set up, but, you know, it looks like garbage. So, all right, let's change the way it looks because it looks like garbage. And, you know, then we want to actually make this live instead of having it be, oh, it's already in the middle of working on it. Oh, God, I love Replit. Amjad, man, you made the sickest fucking tool I've ever used in my life, bro.
Is that like less than 60 seconds it took
to
do that? Yeah. Right. And this is how, like, it's completely counter to the way that we scope and deliver right now. And it's why it's never worked for me. Like, and why I prefer to like coach and get people like in HubSpot, like building stuff. It's like, hey, I agree. It's like if the word vibe doesn't work for you, think of the word feel, right? So you go look at API docs or you see posts on social or Reddit or somewhere else is doing something awesome. And you're like, I feel like I should be able to do this, or we should be able to do this. So let's see, right? But you don't know. After that, you haven't gone far enough to be like, oh yeah, I feel like I want to do that. This is exactly what it needs to look like, developer. There's no way. Like, and that's where all this like documentation comes into play. Just this, oh, and sorry, I got to get back to work though, right? And actually do my job instead of theoretically design this brand new thing that we just thought of 10 minutes ago, right? Then, but since we can iterate so quickly, we see what it looks like. Oh, that's what a different blog category looks like. Oh, in that case, just do this and this and this. And now and then 60 seconds later, it looks fine. It looks better than fine. It looks good, right? And
it matches the rest of the UI.
And, right? And we're moving forward. And if I'm like, again, like back to real world devs, the struggle is always with the number of iterations, like back and forth, the versions. And this can be devs, it could be like, you know, marketing teams, right? The balance between needing to know exactly what you want, pixel for pixel, and just telling me what you think you want. Like, people avoid the telling me what you think you want part because almost inevitable that the first thing I give back to you is not what you wanted. Right. And now we have to, and that cycle.
It's not what I was thinking of. It's not what I had in my head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me exactly what you think you were thinking of then, now that you've seen this. And then it's just this continually like molding the clay, like getting in a place, and that iterative space between two humans takes up an overwhelming amount of time and energy because we're not at the office. We can't just sit down for 3 hours and like workshop it together. Although when we do, there's infinitely more valuable and we go so far so fast. But this is like, it's the difference between vibing in person and just vibing with the system, right? I feel like we should do this. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, instant feedback. Now we can take the next steps, right? Even if I were to ask Nico to dev this for me, like, since I'm not there to do this part, if we're not hyper aligned on the North Star vision, like, which it's very hard to do when you're paying somebody outside of the organization to be that aligned, like, he wouldn't be able to move forward in this way. Be like, okay, blog looks all right, but just in the way that Replit is doing here, let me take a screenshot and then tell me, Nico, like, is this the right track?
Right.
Like, if we're lucky, like, I'm available. And it's sort of like the first days of like design pickle, right? Like, if you could be in the Slack as somebody's getting the design done, it gets done so fast, you get way more for your money. But in reality, I've got a meeting coming up I'm going to reply right now and give my feedback if I have time to do that. But then the chances, like the context switching of going to the meeting and then coming back to it later, and oh man, what was my feedback? Oh, why did I ask for that thing? Because it looks terrible now. They've done it, and and I don't know why I wanted it that way. So just this repetitive, iterative nature that just humans, if we have to do so much context switching in the process, it just inherently gets complex. And what we've tried to do is build systems and software products that support our way of doing it. And now we just don't have to do it that way anymore. So I think this is where we'll wrap for today. Always enjoy a little vibe coding from Nico. We got to figure out a way to get to it faster. That was supposed to be tech stack.
That was supposed to be like the whole thing for today, right? Yeah.
But we have a hard time avoiding the philosophical conversation.
It's all right, because
it's so important.
Honestly, what I really love about this more than anything else is wait and see what it looks like next week. Okay? Wait and see what I can do with 1 week. It's like, I'm gonna, all right, I'll tease it. I can't show it. You'll have to be at Inbound to see it. I can't show it. I'm gonna be promoting something at Inbound that I've been working on, along with Dax and along with Tyrone. And basically we put together something that doesn't exist. It took me about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks in total to vibe code it. There were other versions of it that pre-existed it, and like different designs and things like that. But the actual like demo version that is working, and it is insanely complicated. It is a full software, like for sure, full stack software. Okay. 3 weeks. And it's gonna be ready to ship soon. Okay. It's serious stuff. Like this, and when I'm saying that, I just mean like vibe coding is serious stuff. Like being able to develop software, it's serious stuff. And it really is like as simple as like, hey, can you do this? Cool, let's do that. Just like have the curiosity and the follow through. And like that's, like that's really all you need. Just like have curiosity. And if you are somebody who actually follows through on stuff that they want, there's no limitations. Yeah. You're the only limitation. That's it. So like, I can't wait to show you guys this thing. I can't wait to be able to talk about it more. You're absolutely going to lose your fucking minds when you guys see this, way more than CRM Monster. But I'll show you, like, that's going to be the cool thing, is to look at CRM Monster next week, see where it's at compared to this week. And then I think you guys might have an understanding of like what's going to happen at Inbound. And I don't know. HubSpot's going to have awesome stuff. I'm not knocking him. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that a lot of people are going to be talking about what I'm going to be promoting. That's all. A lot of people. It'd be shocking to me if by day 3, like, everybody's not talking about it. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun month.
Straight through Replit.
That's love for it. Sure. We'll promise to pay off that tease for next week by seeing how far we've come on the CRM Monster.
Yep.
So in the meantime, you have to check in with us every day on Value First AI, our daily podcast and LinkedIn show. So until tomorrow, but even if we don't see you tomorrow, Everybody have an amazing week. Thanks so much, Nico.
Thank you. See you guys.